considerable damage with winds upwards of 70 miles per hour in some places. You see the velocity. We are not looking at any tornadic signatures, but we are looking at some straight line wind pushing into Campton, Hazel Green, West Liberty, really on top of Campton right now. So really, I would treat this as a tornado warning. Just stay indoors, don't go outside, and I would be off the road. I wouldn't want to be driving on the Mountain Parkway from Campton over to Stanton, because this is a very hefty thunderstorm. Watching out for possibly some hail, possibly some high winds, possibly some heavy rainfall as well. So here's the hail, and the good news, no large hail. We could see possibly small hail up to pea-sized in some places. The good news, though, no large hail being detected by radar. That's good news there. But the big story, the possibility of some strong straight-line winds pushing into West Liberty, also pushing into Campton. Let's go tighter on Campton. You see that little area of white that is close to downtown Campton. That's probably some winds upwards of 50 or 60, so just stay indoors if you're in Campton near Highway 191, Highway 715, watching out for the possibility of some strong straight-line winds in that area. Hazel Green also heads up some very hefty thunderstorms are knocking on your doorstep as well. If you're just now joining us, no severe weather issues for most of the region. If you're watching us and you're wondering, well, what's it doing in my area? Why is he ignoring my area? It's because we have no other warnings in place besides the counties near the Mountain Parkway, portions of Campton, over to West Liberty, over to Moorhead. Places like that, looking at this complex of showers and storms. But do not let your guard down, because look back to the west. We are tracking more strong to severe storms south of Louisville, south of Evansville, and on top of Paducah at this hour. So more showers and storms are possible as we go through this evening, also as we go into tonight. And that is why we have a first alert weather day in place for the possibility of some strong to severe storms. Now, we're not looking at a widespread problem. Not everyone will see severe weather today, but the possibility is there for some strong to severe storms in some places this evening. Also, as we go into tonight, the main threats, heavy rainfall, gusty winds, but as we just saw, we cannot rule out a quick spin up tornado or some small hail in some places. So be sure that you have a way to receive warnings. You can scan that QR code on the top left part of your screen, and you can stay up to date as more warnings or more watches are issued. And speaking of the watches, let's go to that graphic real quick. We can see the watch that is in place that was issued about an hour or two ago at this point. Let's go back to the home view, and we'll turn on the severe thunderstorm watch. So really, the entire area is under a severe thunderstorm watch besides Lee and Wise counties in Virginia. But for the vast majority of the coverage area, a severe thunderstorm watch is in place through midnight. So just be sure that you have a way to receive warnings as we go into this evening, also as we go into tonight. So we are watching out for this strong to severe storm complex pushing into Wolfe County, Morgan County, Rowan County. And again, just notice that backward C shape. You can see from Moorhead down to Campton. It's kind of shaped like that. That just tells me some winds are very strong in that system as it continues to push it and bow it out kind of there coming into Campton, also West Liberty. So just a heads up there, some strong straight line winds are possible. The good news, we are not detecting any rotation. That's great news there, and hopefully that will continue. But we cannot rule out a quick spin up tornado. So just be sure that you have a way to receive warnings as we go through the rest of this evening, and we'll see what the National Weather Service wants to do. This warning does go until 6:15, so we are watching out for the possibility of some strong straight line winds and some heavy rainfall to continue for about the next 15, 16, 17 minutes or so. But I will say this warning has not been, this storm complex has not really weakened over the past little bit. So I would not be surprised to see this warning extended. So just a heads up in Salyersville, in Paintsville, and Prestonsburg over towards Lawrence County. No warning right now, but if this continues, we could have warnings later on this evening. Another track here as this complex continues pushing off to the east around 45 miles per hour. So West Liberty, you have a matter of minutes before this severe thunderstorm is on top of you. 6:04, West Liberty, Isonville, 6:21, Salyersville. Again, no warning right now in Salyersville, but that could change as we go through the next little bit. 6:27 for Salyersville, over towards Paintsville, 6:40, Chestnut, 6:47, Walbridge, 6:53, as it continues pushing off towards the east. Also some good news, no reports of damage from this cluster of showers and storms. That's great news there from the National Weather Service. We'll keep a close eye on that as we... Okay, we'll keep an eye on that as we keep going through this. So right now, we are on the air because we have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. No rotation that I'm looking at on velocity. That's great news there. But that could change. Again, we're watching out for possibly some quick spin-ups as this line of showers and storms continues pushing off to the east. And again, there it is right there. You see the thunder, the lightning that is coming into West Liberty. Also Campton pouring right now in downtown Campton over towards Hazel Green and Wolfe County up into Morgan County as well. Grassy Creek about to be raining very heavily in that area as well. And again, strong straight line winds are possible as this continues pushing off towards the east. Let's turn on the reports real quick and we'll see if we've gotten any. I don't think we have. Yeah, all the reports have been near Lexington. We had some, this is that same storm complex. If you notice, it's kind of oriented in this line here. This same complex that's affecting portions of Wolfe County and Morgan County is the same complex that's caused damage in Lexington. So this storm complex has a history of producing straight line wind damage of downed trees and power lines. So just a heads up there, we could possibly see some downed trees as this storm complex could produce winds upwards of 60 or 70 miles per hour, and that warning will go until 6:15. It is now 6 o'clock. You're watching WYMT TV and Hazard. First Alert meteorologist Cameron Aaron live in the WYMT First Alert Weather Center. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in place with a tornado possible tag until 6:15, and that does include Campton, West Liberty, and Moorhead. And we actually have a camera on I-64 in Moorhead. Let me see if I can find that real quick. And hopefully that camera is working as strong to severe storms are pushing into Moorhead at this hour. As you can see, some rain is starting to fall. Also some very dark skies back in the distance there as this severe thunderstorm continues pushing into Rowan County. That current temperature is 75 degrees, but it's not 75 for most of us. Let me turn on the temperatures real quick. And you can see the air is very soupy across the mountains. We have dew points in the 70s. We have temperatures upper 80s, even 90 right now in Somerset. So we are looking at some very moist and unstable air, and that is why we have these storm complexes, and that will continue as we go into this evening, also as we go into tonight, and that is why we have that first alert weather day in place, and also that's why we have that level 3 enhanced risk in place for the possibility of those strong to severe storms. I do want to stress we are not expecting widespread problems. However, like we're looking at right now, so we are asking people to please be weather aware and please be sure you have a way to receive warnings as we go into tonight. But the good news, like I mentioned earlier, the forecast is looking much better as we get into your Monday and also your 4th of July holiday. But right now, some strong winds are coming into downtown West Liberty and Morgan County along Highway 460, stretching down into portions of Magoffin County as well. But again, no indication of rotation. That's great news there. But still, take this storm seriously because we could see winds upwards of 60 or 70. And again, that doesn't matter if it's going in a straight line or if it's rotating. 60 or 70 can knock down trees, and that can knock down power lines, and that could make you lose power as well. So we're watching out for this as it trucks off to the east around 45 miles per hour. Let's put on the track for this one more time, and as you can see, this will continue pushing off to the east around 45. So heads up, West Liberty, Kentucky, right on top of you right now as this continues pushing off to the east. Sandy Hook 617, Isonville 622, Oil Springs 628, Flat Gap 634, Paintsville 638, Adams 648, Louisa, 6:55, also Walbridge, 6:55 as well. Now, I do want to stress, no warning right now for Paintsville or Salyersville or Louisa, but that could change over the next few minutes as this complex of showers and storms continues pushing off to the east. We're watching out for strong straight line winds and also possibly some hail. Here's a little hail core here near Hazel Green in Wolfe County. So heads up, the first alert in Hazel Green for possibly some quarter-sized hail. This is very close to, let's see, that is Sandfield Road, also Cal Stamper Link Road, Gal Branch Road, any of these areas, looking at the possibility for quarter-sized hail close to the Tolliver area and Wolfe County, pushing off to the east towards Hazel Green. Some large hail is possible, but we're on the air right now for the possibility of 70-mile-per-hour winds as this complex of showers and storms continues, pushing off to the east into West Liberty, also much of Morgan County, extreme northern Breathitt County as well. The possibility of some strong straight-line winds, so heads up in northern Breathitt, portions of northwestern Magoffin, not Salyersville just yet. We'll see what the National Weather Service wants to do. This warning does expire in 10 minutes. I do suspect this will be extended, though, off to the east. So a first alert in Salyersville, Oil Springs, Paintsville, Flat Gap, Blaine, and Lawrence County. The possibility for a new warning over the next several minutes there. But right now we have a warning in place for Campton, for West Liberty, as a strong to severe storm rolls through the mountains right now. And again, we could possibly see more as we go into this evening, also as we go into tonight. So if it's not raining in your location right now, do not let your guard down, because a level 3 and a level 2 risk of severe weather does continue as we go through the rest of this evening, also as we go into tonight. The good news, though, that I'm looking at, no rotation from this storm, but still take it seriously, because we could still see winds in a straight line of 60 to 70. And I do want to mention again, this storm has a history of producing tree damage back in the Lexington metro. I'll turn on the reports that we have here. And as you can see, tree damage near I-64, near Winchester, also tree damage near Lexington as well. So this is the same storm complex pushing into Wolfe and Morgan counties and Elliott counties right now. So just a heads up there. Some good news, though, no reports in our region just yet, but that could change as we go further on into tonight. West Liberty, this is really close to you. And also, it's right on top of Hazel Green and also right on top of Campton near the Mountain Parkway. And again, it's not tornadic, but I would not want to be driving on the Mountain Parkway from Salyersville to Stanton for the next 45 minutes to an hour until this storm system passes by, because you're looking at very heavy rainfall, strong straight line winds, and possibly some small hail in some pockets. So again, please just stay off the road and stay home until this complex passes by. This warning goes until 6:15 for all the counties that you see here. So we'll go through these together. Breathitt County, Elliott County, Menifee County, Morgan County, Rowan County, Wolfe County, until 6:15 for the possibility of strong straight line winds upwards of 70. Also some large hail up to quarter size. And again, you see that threat, possibly tornadic in some places. The good news right now, no rotation on radar, but again, it could not take long for that to change, as we could possibly see a few spin-ups in some places. We'll keep an eye on that as we go through the next little bit. But again, first alert in West Liberty, as some strong straight line winds are coming into your neck of the woods very shortly. We'll put on the track here as this continues pushing off to the east, around 45 miles per hour. Let's do a track here. So you see Paintsville, not in the warning, but you could be here soon. This warning does expire in 8 minutes. So at 6:15, this warning will expire. We'll see what the National Weather Service wants to do over in Jackson. But Wrigley, 6:07 on top of you now. Isonville, 6:24. Flat Gap, 6:33. Adams, 6:48. Louisa and Lawrence County, 6:57. Warfield, 7:06. Now again, these areas not under a warning, but that could change as we go through the next little bit. I'm still looking at no reports from the National Weather Service. That's good news there, but still, we could possibly see some spotty wind damage as this complex of showers and storms continues pushing off to the east around 45 miles per hour. And again, that will last until 6:15 as this storm continues pushing off to the east. I do suspect the National Weather Service will give us kind of an indication on what they plan to do here in the next few minutes. We'll see if they extend this warning or if they allow this warning to expire. And we'll see what they do here as this pushes off to the east. West Liberty on top of you now. And again, Highway 460, a rough go at it right now. I wouldn't drive on Highway 460 or on the Mountain Parkway in Morgan County or Wolfe County as some very heavy rain is falling, some gusty winds, and also possibly some small hail. Let's zoom into this area here near Hazel Green. This is probably smaller than quarters near the Wolfe-Morgan County line. So yeah, close to quarter-sized hail near Hazel Green and also close to the, all right, just got a note from the National Weather Service. They are planning on reissuing portions of the warning. So we will watch out for that as we go over the next few minutes. So we'll keep an eye on that. I do suspect this warning to be extended into portions of Johnson County, Louisa, Lawrence County, also Salyersville and Magoffin County. So first alert for you guys, the possibility of a severe thunderstorm warning here soon as the National Weather Service does plan on issuing that here soon. We'll bring another report here. That's from Louisville, so we won't worry about that. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that as it continues pushing off to the east. So again, the good news right now, no rotation on radar, but we could possibly see some strong straight line winds in some places as this continues pushing off to the east around 45 miles per hour on top of West Liberty right now, on top of Candle City right now, Campton, Hazel Green, all these areas in Morgan and Wolfe counties. Let's go up to Moorhead as well in Rowan County. Also in this warning, this is a live look from Moorhead at I-64. And as you can see, not raining right now at this location, but the storm clouds are not too far away. So that strong to severe storm is knocking on the door of this camera side. We do have reports of trees down in Lexington. So more reports coming out of Lexington from this same storm cell of trees down in the metro of Lexington. So that is the same system that we are watching out for. You see there, it came through. Let's zoom in a little bit. Also, I want to point out these cells that are popping up in central Kentucky, just a heads up for Somerset, for Monticello, for London, for Rockcastle County. Nothing going on right now, but watch where these storms are going. They're pushing off to the east, northeast, and we'll have to keep an eye on those as we go through the next little bit. But again, let's go back into that warning. Let's turn this off and let's go back into that warning near the Mountain Parkway. You see where this storm came from. It came through Lexington and produced some tree damage in the metro, and it followed the Mountain Parkway down into Stanton, down into Irvin, and now it is pushing into portions of West Liberty, also northern Breathitt County. I also want to mention, notice this little green line here that's popping up near McKee in Jackson County, also portions of Lee County. I'll kind of circle this here. Watch this part of the storm right there. So let's turn this off. Watch that part of the storm. You see that green line? We call that an outflow boundary. There's that new warning. We'll talk about that in a second, but that's an outflow boundary. So that tells me these storms are pushing out more than they're pushing in. So possibly a little bit of a weakening trend here as they continue pushing out their outflow. We'll keep an eye on that. But there is the new warning. And like we mentioned, Paintsville in the warning, also Salyersville in the warning, also looking at Jackson in the warning, Prestonsburg in the warning. So let's turn off the radar data and put on the alerts. So Breathitt County, new warning for you. Jackson, this includes you. This includes all of Magoffin County. Salyersville, you're included. Basically all of Johnson County. Paintsville, you're included. This includes most of Floyd County. Prestonsburg, you're included. Let's see if Martin is included in this. I don't think they are. Allen is included. I don't think Martin is. Martin right on the edge. So Martin, we'll say you're included just to be safe. Portions of Knott County, north of Hindman, not included. Now this does not have the tornado possible tag. So let's see what we want to do here in terms of programming. And we'll see what we do here. But let's put a track on this. Interesting to note, the National Weather Service has kind of put a southeastwardly kind of shape on that warning. Instead of due east, a little bit of southeasterly there. So let's see what they have this moving at. They have this until 7 o'clock for the winds, possibly up to, let's see, 60. So they've also dropped the winds just a little bit. So like I mentioned, these storms are a little bit more outflow dominated. So a little bit of a weakening trend, but still, they could still produce winds upwards of 60, some really heavy rainfall, some thunder, some lightning, and also possibly some small hail. This goes until 7. This is moving east at 40. Let's put another track on this real quick. Let's see. Let's put a track on this off to the east at 40 for portions of our coverage area, off to the east at 40. So there you go. Salyersville, 621. So 8 minutes in Salyersville. Oil Springs, 629. Flat Gap in Johnson County, 636. Paintsville, also Johnson County, 640. Chestnut, 652. Prestonsburg, very close to 7 o'clock. Reisner, 704. Clifford, 707. So these areas in Floyd County, just after the 7 o'clock hour. We'll keep an eye on that as it continues pushing off towards the east. So right now, on top of West Liberty, and also I want to point this out. I want to point this out as well. Yeah. I want to point this out too. Look at the storms that are popping up in northern Breathitt County. Okay. So just a heads up there in northern Breathitt, close to Jackson, some heavier thunderstorms are possible there. All right, coming up on 6:15, what we're going to do, we're going to take a break at 6:15 and we'll come back and do the newscast. So we'll plan to do that. But right now, before we go, this is a live look at the radar. If you're joining,
hopefully everybody got off the water. So
I hope so, because the wind like that coming through causes really choppy conditions, some real issues out there, and then the fact that there was a possible tornado just south of that too.
And there is our left turn right onto 519. All right, guys, stay safe, and we'll check back with you here in just a little bit. Jason is essentially there. He's in the passenger side. He's not driving. He's not doing all this by himself. So that is, we always like to put you guys. People often will question that. Why? Well, we're not going to put somebody out there to go live without a driver with them doing the work. And we preach your safety. We're gonna preach safety for our own people as well. Into central Kentucky now. Lexington, the sun is out. It is steamy after the rain. Richmond, thunder and lightning being heard, or thunder being heard, lightning being seen. It'd be something if you could hear the lightning. But back to the west of us, we're watching this next round of severe thunderstorms coming out of Jefferson County. It's going to take aim at Shelbyville, and if that holds together, Frankfort, where the worst of the weather just missed you guys a little bit ago. That hit Anderson County very, very bad. And now we're going to continue to roll its way to the east with those storms in eastern Kentucky. Now look at this next line coming together, and there you go with those fireball thunderstorms that are also developing toward the southwest. So our break in central Kentucky and Lexington's not going to be the longest in the world, Jim, with these additional thunderstorms out of western Kentucky that are developing and rolling their way to the east and to the northeast as well. We've got, I think, a structure fire. Is this in Lexington? Jessica Umbro, new reporter here at WKYT, is live. This is on Elk Drive, is that right? So it's a fire caused by power lines down and sparking everything. Jessica, what can you tell us?
Right, so we're here on Elk Lake Drive in Lexington. There were 2 homes that were affected. You see the home right there where people are going into. That's where the fire started. Both of the electrical panels, according to our sources, we spoke to tenants, we spoke to one of the firefighters. The electrical units on the back of these homes were torn down when one of the trees came down with it. So right now they don't have power. There were small fires in both of the homes. We spoke with one of the tenants of this home closer to us. She's not planning on staying here for now, just out of her own safety and the safety of the rest of her family and her dogs. Luckily, we know that everybody was okay in both of the homes. Every person and all the animals got out. So luckily, nobody was affected on a personal level by this. The homes seem to be in decent condition from the outside, but again, no power. The electrical units are out. That seems to be a running theme. The firefighters told us that the most common call that they're responding to right now are power outages, down trees. So we're really seeing a lot of that. As we were driving here, there were tons of fire trucks heading to all different locations. So that seems to be the main problem that we're dealing with here in the Lexington area.
All right, stay safe out there. Excellent report, Jessica. We'll check back with you coming up here in just a little bit. And again, Jim, that was the first round of severe thunderstorms that blew through here. And we got to call it the first round because we're likely to see another round or two as we go through the next few hours. And that is now into sections of eastern Kentucky, and that is ready to head into areas we are very familiar with.
Right. We've spent a day or two in that area for sure. And you can see from West Liberty all the way back to Campton, that's kind of the way it's arced with some of the strong and intense wind getting into Magoffin County too, and then up in southern parts of Rowan County. So it's trekking right on into that area. And I'm hearing reports we can actually see perhaps some of the damage from your Twitter feed.
Yeah, this is DeLong Road. This is the video we were looking at a little bit ago, Jim, and you can see how numerous trees are down along DeLong Road there and at least partially blocking the road. You see some others that are leaning way down. And, you know, DeLong, we've had issues along DeLong Road. This isn't the first time this week that we've had issues.
You're right, aren't you? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we had some damage along that a little bit ago. But yeah, you know, on my Twitter feed, which we now have up and running, as you can see, we just have a ton of damage reports and pictures. We could just take that and show you what all we are dealing with as of right now. Look at this, and then if we have the audio, this was from over in the Andover Hills area, just off of Todd's Road, and look at that. I mean, you know, it looks like you're in the middle of a hurricane, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe I actually see a tree come down right there, or at least a limb from a little bit ago. So that's what we are dealing with, and that's going to continue to be something that folks into eastern Kentucky are dealing with as well. So we're just going down my Twitter feed right now, kiddos, and seeing the damage reports that are out there. South Lexington tree that it's just snapped in somebody's yard. Lots of trees down. Jim, we commented on this Sunday night, and here we are Sunday night, a week later, and dealing with another major wind event. I cannot stress enough how absolutely insane, look at the tree uprooted there, how insane
uprooted, right,
the wind has been this year. The wind events, what we have had this year, and we're only to the second day of July, unprecedented in at least my time. I mean, I haven't seen anything like this. The repeat wind events, even now with severe thunderstorms, are taking those winds and just saying, okay, we're gonna take them to the extreme, you know?
Right. You think back to the high wind warnings that we had, just the wind advisory piling up, you know, and now you're getting, as you said, individual thunderstorms that are able to grab hold of some of this wind energy and drive it through, just like what you're about to see. Look at that.
There's Lexington. Yeah, this was a picture I was showing Jim a little bit ago. Look at all the damage there. And I would imagine, Jim, and just looking at the damage and seeing the path of this, if we have the power outage map, if that's something we can get up here in just a little bit, we can do that. We'll come back to radar, at least for the time being. We're going to get that power outage map up because it'll show you the stretch that we're dealing with. Jim, I'll look at this radar now that is heading into Salyersville, heading into areas around Jackson. It's right on top of West Liberty, that much we know. But I look at the leading edge of this, and I see that very, very sharp gradient where you go from nothing to all of a sudden those reds showing up. And seeing that backward C, apex of the bow is right on top of 460 here into areas around White Oak of just inside the Morgan County line out of Magoffin County toward the Bloomington area, and then that will eventually head over toward Flat Gap into Johnson County, Oil Springs, and then the 460 area. But you look at this right on top of the Mountain Parkway where you see that backward C, that is where wind damage is very, very likely as this continues to work its way on through. This is the same storm, same cluster of storms that started to the west of the Lexington Metro a little earlier. Now look at this power outage map because it's going to show you the path of this complex of storms. I mean, look at that. It essentially bowled its way due east and starting to turn a little southeast along the Mountain Parkway. Jim, I mean, that's incredible. And so now you look at that, you see all the power outages that are showing up with this. We're at Clark County, you've almost got 1,000, almost 2,000 there in Montgomery County, but those reports are just coming into those from those areas. We'll go back to Fayette County. I think I may have missed that one a little bit ago. So you're almost a little over 28,000. Woodford County looks like has been hit pretty hard as well with 5,000 outages, and then back into Anderson County. That number is down, so that's good news into Anderson County. But unfortunately, it's climbing across areas of eastern Kentucky. But you look at the path of that storm. You see all the counties that are shaded, got a little color in them. Those are the outages, and that is where we may end up getting storm surveys by the various National Weather Service offices, Jim, right along the entire length of that line. Because we've had a lot of damage.
We have,
and we did have rotation. And I did. It's somewhere on my Twitter feed. If we got that wall cloud, got to go back probably a little bit now, but that will show up at some point. All right, here's the radar picture into eastern Kentucky. A little bit of a break into Lexington, Richmond, and Georgetown, but that severe thunderstorm that is just now coming into western Shelby County, Jim, is going to roll its way to the east and be right on top of Frankfort coming up here in maybe a half hour, give or take a little bit.
Give or take a little bit. It's going to be there. I mean, you can see the warning flashing right there into Shelbyville. So, I mean, it again, taking that similar track.
It is. But
it's a little more to the north with this warning, than the last ones were.
Yeah, that's just a little more to the north. But at the same time, if you look at the line, it's got a little kink in it there, Jim. Let's look at that. I'm surprised they don't have a warning out now all along that line. It's really. Let me jump out here, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. It's really kind of awkward to have just this little small segment when you've got a line that looks like this. Knowing these storms are producing wind damage. I mean, all of them have at least the capability. But Jim, right in here, a couple of little kinks that we look at. So we're gonna investigate that and just see what we can find here. That would be on the Bullitt and roughly Nelson County line to the north of Bardstown. Nothing really jumping out, but boy, likely getting some pretty good winds within that. So that little bitty kink is showing up right there, just to the south of Mount Washington, roughly between Bardstown and Mount Washington. This is getting ready to cross over the Bluegrass Parkway. Runs the length of Nelson County from northeast to southwest, goes into Hardin County where you got a big-time thunderstorm. But again, let's not be slow or shy in pulling the trigger for severe thunderstorm warnings, knowing what these storms have done and are capable of doing. And I see a new severe thunderstorm warning that Jackson has just issued with that cell into northern parts of Jackson County, southern Estill County, and a small part of Owsley County and far western parts of Lee County. So there's McKee into Jackson County. This goes until 7 o'clock. We've been at this for so long. We've had so much going on. Seeing this warning going until 7, I didn't even know what time it was. I mean, we've just been nonstop with this stuff. So we're now getting into the evening, and that severe thunderstorm. Kudos to Jackson for getting that one out into northern parts of the Jackson County area. But again, I would really like to see the length of that line to the west of us warned. I mean, there's no reason not to throw out some severe thunderstorm warnings. Mountain Parkway, Jim, this is the picture we had a little earlier. Take a look at this, the video. Look at that wall cloud.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And now that's exactly what we were dealing with. That is part of the storm that spawned that tornado warning. Same storm, by the way, that blew through Lexington, that blew through Winchester. This is not too far from Winchester, Jim, and you see that wall cloud like that lowering. And that's why we got that tornado warning that was issued. So that storm was rotating. That storm had some spin with it. If it didn't spit out a tornado, it just missed a chance because it certainly had the opportunity to do just that.
Oh, it absolutely did, because that's the indicator right there, friends. That's what we're looking at, actually trying to drop out of the sky, so to speak, and it's just not. We're not seeing it. You look at the radar picture again. We go back to it. And
look at those storms. Look at those storms there.
Look at them. At any time, any one of those could pulse up, and we could find more warnings. A whole series of them could start just firing up left and right with all of those away from these main segments.
Yeah, and again, looking at this, the lack of warning is a little concerning again, but that's been a theme of the week. So hopefully we're not going to get any damage without a warning this go around, but we shall see. Eastern Kentucky, those severe thunderstorms continue to do their thing. That backward sea, Jim, is loaded with damaging winds in all likelihood right on top of the Mountain Parkway. We're going to go in and investigate these storms. This is the same storm that had that wall cloud with it a little farther to the north along the Mountain Parkway. Not quite as, it's not spinning right now. It's more of a straight line damaging wind potential, which is the majority of what it's been producing along the whole way.
Has been straight line winds, right? There was just that time period where it had tried to rotate up a little bit. But again, you see that Boeing segment, how it just kind of pokes out ahead. And you're seeing that now through Syersville, all the way into Paintsville, Prestonsburg, all included in on that too. But really dark skies, gusty winds blowing through Syersville and then stretching back down the Mountain Parkway a good ways, almost all the way into Campton. It does look like it gets a little better by the time you get to that point. But that is a pretty intense thunderstorm there. And then you've got the other warning on the southern flank of it that jumped out for folks there in parts of Jackson County. Just north of McKee is where the bulk of that is right now. And that was joining forces. That had a couple of other areas come together on the southern flank of that to develop and pulse up into something intense. And it is. That's what we're looking at right now.
All right, take a look at this from Alumni News Circle. Whew. Hang on here.
I can't see what that
Let's see. Oh, that's a tree that is uprooted and looks like it is picked up
sidewalk.
Part of a lot of the ground, essentially, part of the sidewalk. It looks like, right?
That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, that's the sidewalk, definitely.
Wow. Now, again, the soft ground from the 4+ inches of rain we've had since Friday coming into play today.
Absolutely.
Because that softened up the ground and allowing the wind to uproot trees like what you're seeing right there. And I just retweeted a video, by the way, from Jacobson Park, if you can look at that. And I've got some pictures from that same area. And you can, and if we can get some audio, yeah, there you go. That's the near the Jacobson Park area. And those are the trees that are down. And from this same site, guys, if we pull it up a little bit, I've got a video that it should have been right before this of the wind coming through there where the rain is horizontal, essentially. There we go. Look at this. We don't have the audio for it, but look at that. I mean, if you didn't know any better, you'd think this was from a landfalling hurricane.
You'd think we're covered in tropical weather.
Yeah, you'd think we were down somewhere in Florida, Gulf of Mexico, with a hurricane coming ashore. Look at, my goodness. And that, again, Jim, was on the south side of town, Jacobson Park. We especially called out Jacobson Park on Richmond Road for significant wind damage. And boy, Mother Nature delivering right there. That's what folks were dealing with. I don't know what that was that went flying there, but that was something.
Something, yeah.
That was something being pushed down the street. But just tremendous amount of wind energy with that. And you could see, it looks like dumpsters there with the tops blowing around. Is that what I'm looking at?
That's what it looks like to me. It looks like they're the tops of the dumpster flapping.
Yeah.
And whoever's shooting this video, they're hanging out of their car and they are soaked. I can tell you that
Guaranteed.
right now, the way this is going.
Yeah. I think this was one of the local storm chasers that did that, and we can pull up their account there just to give them a little credit. But yeah, that's exactly what Lexington went through just a little bit ago. So, and you can see some hail hitting the inside of that car as well. I've got more pictures of trees that are down on homes across Lexington, and the amount of damage, the reports, Jim, are just continuing to come in right now, and they're going to continue to come on in. We'll come back to the radar picture real quickly while we look through the Twitter feed, because that same storm that blew through Lexington is now into eastern Kentucky, with all kinds of warnings that are out, and it's got a little buddy tagging along behind it with that severe thunderstorm warning into Jackson County, into Estill County, Lee County, and part of Owsley County. A little shower has gone up around Lancaster. That thing is drifting to the east, may impact Richmond. But I'm much more concerned about the storms that are to the west of us. And again, where the warning is in Shelby County is the weaker part of that line right now. So we are a little We are a little farther to the south now with the stronger part of the storm. We can look at this storm right now from my Twitter feed, too, that stretches from Bardstown to E-Town. Here's a view from E-Town. Wow. And look at that shelf cloud. That is a shelf cloud and a half. You want to talk about a photo. That's from a drone, obviously. And Tom Williams there, he sends me a lot of great pictures out of Hardin County. That is E-Town. That's the shelf cloud, Jim, and that's textbook right there, buddy.
That's as clean as they get. And I would say it wasn't long after that he probably had to bring that drone down.
He had to bring it down in a hurry.
That wind was coming right at him. The wind will start right before the shelf itself actually gets to you. And then as the shelf goes by, a lot of the strong winds will, of course, subside. But that's what's happening. That cold air from above is pushing out of a thunderstorm, starting to shift that in your direction. And that's what you get. Now, and a lot of people see these blow in, and it terrifies them. And for good reason, because that is a very
it's often called the mothership.
It is,
right.
That's right.
I mean, out of Independence Day,
right out of the movie Independence Day. Yes.
When those things were approaching Earth. Well, these aren't things from outer space, but they are severe thunderstorms, and we got them all across the region. And watching those storms, Jim, into Marion County, Taylor County, they're coming together, and they're going to try and meet up with that line of severe thunderstorms that stretches from Shelby County back toward the E-Town area. And this is what folks in Shelby County are seeing right now. And you see the leading edge of that shelf cloud, too, that is now into Shelby County. Great shot of that. So that's, essentially a similar view, different shelf cloud, but it's part of the same line of storms racing across parts of central Kentucky as of right now. And that's going to continue to roll its way through. Just got some drone video out of Lexington as well, showing a large tree that is down from that severe thunderstorm that is on Wilson Downing Road. We can pull that up here just momentarily. And the videos that you folks are sending, the pictures we love, we appreciate. You guys do absolutely great work in keeping everybody up to date. But I do want to make sure you guys are safe above all else. Never put, life or property in danger by getting pictures of severe weather. Always make sure you're going to be safe first and foremost. That's it would kind of defeat our purpose out here if you guys weren't being safe. So from my Twitter feed, we had that drone video of Wilson Downing Road in Lexington of a large tree that was down in that area. And again, I'm looking at that. There you go. Look at that, Jim.
There it is.
Yeah. And that is out, looks like in the road, and it's across the street there. I see some fire officials there at the bottom of your screen, and that one, Jim, that's not so much uprooted. That's just snapped. Looks like at the base, right? Maybe a little partial uprooted, but.
And that's a good size one. But as you said, the ground was very soft. So the right amount of wind comes along, you're going to run into a lot of that. And what's happening is the reports we're getting are in some of these some of the older neighborhoods that have a lot of older trees, some big trees in those spots. That's where we're seeing a lot of this stuff coming in from, because some of the earlier shots we were getting looked like it was coming from toward the downtown area on the southern side of New Circle Road, so to speak, there. And then you're seeing this as well, which is on the other side of New Circle Road, on the southern side of it there. So that's what we're experiencing here, and had in Fayette County just a little while ago. I keep watching, Chris, that warning up in Shelbyville to see if there's going to be an extension into Franklin County. Now, I will say this, it doesn't look as intense as it did earlier, but, we were just looking at some of the video or the pictures from it.
Yeah.
It still looked like a good
right, but as I look at that entire line, I'm thinking, okay, what's the justification for a warning here and not farther south?
Yeah.
I mean, or it's not even the strongest storm on the radar right now. It's the one with the warning. Strongest storms is between Taylorsville, Bardstown, on top of E-Town, and these storms into Marion County, the fireballs that you mentioned, are going up very quickly and likely becoming large hail producers, and they're going to do so quickly. That's why, look, we got to, let's get those warnings out. And again, those warnings continue into eastern Kentucky. This is the same cluster of severe thunderstorms that moved across Lexington